So I often see the claim that an Amish young person, if they choose to leave the community, in other words, not to be baptized into the church, that they're then shunned by their family and by the community. But is that really the case? So briefly, there's a couple things to keep in mind here. One would be that Amish youth choose baptism for themselves at adulthood, typically at around age 18 into their early 20s is when baptism happens. There's no formal age limit, although most have made that decision by the time they're into their 20s. The second thing, this is done as a free choice. It's not chosen for them. Now, at the same time, there are certainly influences and pressures that can affect this choice. For example, you do need to be a member of the Amish church to be married to someone else who's in the Amish church. There are no marriages between, an Amish person and a person from another Christian denomination, for example. Another influence would be the parents. I would think it's fair to say that many, if not most, Amish parents would like to see their kids join the Amish church. And personally, knowing Amish parents myself, they're happy when their children join. Although if they don't join, they still love them and they still have a relationship with them. At least in healthy families, which is most families here. So if you don't join the Amish church, you're not shunned. This is kind of a myth that I see in some places. People say, well, he decided not to be baptized and the Amish shunned him. That's not the case. Now, it may affect your relationship with your family in some way, in your community. Of course, you're not Amish anymore, so you're not going to be taking part in the community in the same way. You're not going to be attending church with the Amish and a number of other things. But there's not an official church process of discipline if you simply choose not to join the church because you haven't broken any commitment. You haven't made any commitment. Now, if you leave the church later, that would be another issue, and we'll talk about that in another video. Now, there are stories or cases, often, I think, from plainer communities or maybe just dysfunctional families, that Amish youth who don't join the church are treated poorly. And I'm not arguing with that. I'm sure there are cases like that. But it's not formal church discipline in that case. And I think maybe sometimes people are using this word shunned as some sort of blanket description for this type of treatment or behavior in these let's call them bad situations. But there's no formal church process of excommunication and discipline because they never joined the church in the first place. And consequently, there's no formal shunning, which is essentially changed social behavior toward the person who leaves. We'll talk more about that in another video. Anyway, I hope that explains it a little bit better. If you liked the video, hit the like button, and I will talk to you next time.